Josh, what's up? What y'all up to? Good holidays? Still on them? Working? Vince, what's up, dude? Fishing with Vin? Is there Christ or Christ? Not sure the proper pronunciation. I'm getting baits ready to paint. Perch KGBs. Let me see. I don't think I have. I don't think I've. I don't think I have received any Perch KGBs yet. I don't have any boxes with a Tanner name on it or any other ones for that matter. So, not yet. Post office is slow. This could be a foreshadowing for my hell. No way, dude. But Rich Shackelford, what's up, dude? How's the wife? She doing all right? Casey, what's up? Yeah, so if some of you are looking at me like something's odd, I'm lacking facial hair. And I don't like it. Which this is the way I've looked my whole life. It wasn't until the last couple years. Hold on, somebody's knocking on the door. Smalls. But yeah, I'm ready for the stash to grow back. Darius, what's up? Huh? Had a beard since high school, pretty much. Yeah, I was the dude that Casey. Do I look that much younger? 10 years younger. That's pretty good. I didn't realize a stash aged you that much. But yeah, probably in like, I don't know, it was probably in about sophomore year of high school. I was the one that always got thrown to the wolves because I probably had the same amount of stubble uh, that I do now in, at sophomore year of high school. So I was always the one that got to like go attempt to buy beer. Uh, Everybody would be like, "Dude, grow your beard out. Go try and buy beer." And then when they ask for your license, just give it to them. I'm like, okay, this shit actually works like a lot. Where you'd go and just like put a 12 back up there, and they'd be like, "ID." You just hand them your like 16-year-old ID or whatever, 15-year-old ID. And they look at it, look at you, and I think it's just for like cameras. And but anyway, um, but I've had this amount of stubble for probably since I was in high school, so it's been a while. Um, but the stash has only been about 3 years old. I never liked a full beard. Couldn't get used to that. It was always just annoying. But I did enjoy the stash. The stash will be back. Um, but so what is the purpose of shaving it off? So I got a new beard trimmer, and it's got this little guard on it that's got this button on the back, and you like slide it up and down to 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 set the length. And I put it on what I thought would be like a good length for my mustache, and it was a little short. But I did this part and I did this part, and I walked into the room because we had Christmas pictures the next day, and Amy saw me and she was like, "You got to shave this off." I was like, "I'm not shaving this and leaving my stash." I was like, "They go hand in hand." I was like, "You can't have one without the other." So, or I personally don't care for that. And she's like, "Your soul patch is never that long." I'm like, "It pretty much is. You just can't tell because my other facial hair is a little longer usually." And so I went in there because she wanted this shaven down and the stash left. I just shaved it all off. So fuck it. So beard trimmer with a vacuum. Anthony, I haven't seen that. I have to look that up. Um, so I didn't really mess. She didn't like the soul patch thickness. So rather than cut my soul patch off and lose my soul, I cut it all off. But I started thinking about it and I was like, this is pretty dumb because both of my daughters have never seen me, I don't think, without a mustache and or some sort of like pretty decently heavy facial hair. And when I went, the bean woke up the next morning and I went and got her. And I picked her up out of bed and everything was fine. We walked into the I asked her if she wanted to watch a show. She usually likes to watch a show in the morning and she'll lay there and just chill out on the couch. She didn't want to watch a show. She wanted to play with her Barbie house. So we did the Barbie house thing in her room and we were sitting there and we were playing Barbie and I was sitting in the chair by it. And she said, "Come play with me. Come play with me." And I was sitting there and we were playing and said, "Do you notice anything weird about my face?" And she looked up at me and like made this funny expression and like crawled beside the chair and hid and then like peeked up and looked at me and like smiled and she was like, I said, "No mustache." And she was like, "Yeah." I said, "You would grow it back?" And she said, "Yeah." And she started playing and then she'd look up at me like, "Something's wrong with you." The little baby, she kept feeling and like nothing was there, but she didn't seem too shocked. The bean was pretty uh she was she don't think she liked it. um Casey has a question. Has anybody discussed a jointed elongated body mubba? uh like swim bait size or just regular sized? You lost Marty at jointed. um Kyle, no bets, no bets. um But Phillips, I think it makes it clean up way easier pregnant having it look like a Sasquatch. Yeah, Anthony, I am. What I would use. Here's my tip of the day. Um, how I would shave. This probably wouldn't work if you live in Hella Land or AJ Mindy Land. But what I would do was I would typically just take my shirt off, walk outside, and flip my truck mirror out, and I would shave outside. I've been shaving in the truck mirror of my truck for probably since college to keep my bathroom clean. So yeah, I've always shaved outside. And it's invigorating in the wintertime because you walk out there and it's like 30, 40 degrees. Feels good. Shave up. Sometimes you got to use a flashlight if it's at night, but I typically would shave in my truck mirror. And that kept everybody happy, kept my room clean. It was pretty nice. Um, but That would be my tip if you live somewhere in southerly climates. Just walk outside and shave in the side mirror. Uh, but that does sound like a lot of work. Um, Casey, speaking of the Mubba, but speaking of the real version, the Bubba, made by Strike Pro, I saw one on eBay that I had never seen before, and it was a deep Bubba. It was the same Bubba body, but it had like a long bill on it, like that. You ever seen that one? Looked odd. Looked very odd. Uh, and it kind of, to me, kind of defeated the whole purpose of the Bubba to begin with, because it shared no bill similarities at all. The only thing it shared was the body size, so it would certainly have a completely different action. Um, but I don't know. I kind of wanted to buy it, but then I knew exactly, like looking at the bill, I knew exactly what it would do. So it's like, that would be a waste. Um, but I did order uh, from this gentleman. I got lucky. Um, he had a bunch of baits on Facebook for sale. Uh, oh, a modified one. Oh, you think it's a modified? I don't know. It was, I mean, it was in a factory package. It was. I'd never seen one before though. No, it didn't have the L-shaped cowl, which I thought was dumb. It was just like a regular deep diving crankbait. Um, but Anthony, I have noticed that. Back in the day, I could go and I could buy, like, if I needed something to paint, I could you typically go find a lot of some specific bait that was maybe a little bit off the radar. Oh, damn it! I think my I think my oh, I had to shut down. I got a call. Dick. Um, Anthony, I got like I said, I would typically order stuff um, that people didn't that I liked, that maybe a lot of that weren't collectible. You know what I mean? That people didn't like give a shit about. I could usually get those for pretty cheap. But now I don't feel like anything's cheap. You can't find like a lot of stuff I would try to buy like that that typically was cheap. For example, like a Norman Deep Little Inn, DD22, like anything Norman was typically for the last like 20 years has always been dirt cheap. But now you can't get a damn old crusty DD22 for less than like $5, and people are paying for them. So it's really hard for a guy like me to find like any decent volume of stuff for reasonable prices anymore. But this guy actually had very decent prices for his stuff. And the only reason I was able to pluck what I plucked was because he didn't accept PayPal. So I was going through all these baits, and I was like, I want that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and I picked out like 20 something baits, and I was like, I want all those. How much for those? And it was like uh, $60. Okay, and so I said, he said, send me a money order. I was like, a money order? He's like, yeah, I don't have PayPal. Dude was old. You could tell he was legit. Like he was a legit geezer, but he wasn't. He didn't give a shit about PayPal or anything. Um, so uh, I was like, all right, I'll send you a money order. Well, then he said, let me get a shipping quote from you, and I will send you a message back on how much the shipping is. Well, I never heard back from him, and he sent me a message like on like Christmas Eve or the day after Christmas, and he's like, "Do you still want these baits?" I was like, "I do." I was like, "I was waiting to hear back. I was waiting to hear what your shipping quote was so I can put it on the money order since I'm sending you a money order." And he's like, "Oh, $10." I was like, "Okay." So he says, "I have PayPal now." It's like even better. So I think he deterred everybody from trying to buy his stuff because he didn't have PayPal, but now he has PayPal. So I was able to not have to send money orders and got it through PayPal. But I'll show you what I got from him. He had a nice little selection of Bandit Flat Maxes. Uh, that was a nice pluck. I don't really want to paint this Tennessee shad. I mean this Louisiana shad because I flamed AJ and told him not to. But here I am. We'll probably paint it. But this is what got my attention. This is what got me ordering. Suddeth Little Earls. He had a lot of these. So I got 1, 2, 4. I thought I had more. I guess I just got 5 of those from him. But those are cool baits. This one's those 4, and they're pretty much perfect. Um, this one, this one I tried to sand on, but the clear coat on this thing is total trash. It's like rubber. So when you try to sand it, it just like gums up and turns to goo, and it won't sand. So I'm gonna take the lacquer thinner to it and see if I can get it. Anthony, good talking to you, dude. Uh, Correct, Marty. They are foam. These baits are made of foam, so seemingly indestructible. Um, cool baits though. They catch them. That state record pickerel I caught. Uh, may have been on one of those. Not that it mattered, but he had this. What else did he have? Oh, he had these flat A's. He had a bunch of those, and then he had DT. He had 5 DT6s, and what else? He had this swayback spook. Got that. He had another spook, old spook. I've already taken the hardware off of this one. I'm going to convert this to a 3-hook and send this frog off. Get rid of that frog. I'll probably get rid of this. I'll probably convert this swayback to a 3-hook as well. If I can find my screwdriver. I don't know where that would be. I was just using it. There it is. But what else did he have? Oh yeah, one more bait that I thought was. I saw it in the back of the picture, and I was like, I'll roll the dice on what I think that is, and see if I can get it. AJ, you probably could. I've never tried because I think the plastic's different. I think they're using like regular. I think they're. Dustin, I got a bone to pick with you, bro. I was hoping you'd show up. But there's the sway back. But I think these are butyrate. So when you sand all the paint off of them, they're just bone colored plastic, which I typically like to leave. I like the way that plastic looks on its own. So you don't really need to paint it bone because it's already bone. So I just leave the plastic exposed and then just paint colors over it so it looks cool, and you get the old butyrate look. But this one, their paint was extra runny that day. You can see up here by the eye, it's spider webbed really, really bad. Uh, somebody got a little loosey goosey on the spraying, but so I'll get those sanded down, and I'm gonna sand down all these flat A's to clear. Maybe do some transparent colors. Um, Casey says that three hooks book you made me is phenomenal on hookups. Wonderful. It is doing its job, Casey. Uh, where is it? This one? That thing's a damn classic. Where's this thing from? Birmingham, Alabama. M. Dunbar, First Avenue, Birmingham. Wholesale distributor. Yeah, that thing has been around the block. Tools of the trade. But Baitworks has spooks, buy two get two free. Yeah, there, Travis, you are 100% correct. Every house, especially mom and pop's house, has one in the junk drawer. That's probably where I robbed this one from. But so I got stuff to do on top of all this other shit. Oh, here's the wild card I bought that I was correct on. Smithwick Super Rogue. Very I'm guessing this is like the first run of the Smithwick Super Rogue. So I will be stripping this down and I will be adding a fancy new paint job to it. Kyle, that is quite the cheap bass uh, technique there. Oh, but Dustin, so I was creeping over the holidays on some live stream. I don't remember what it was, but it said you just sent off 16 warts to get painted. And I was a little offended that I didn't even get one to paint. What kind of shit is that? I thought we were bros, dude. 16 warts? Travis Little Companies ordered him screwdrivers with their company names on them and gave them to customers. Yeah, I would. Maybe this is what I should do. Maybe this is what I should do. Would y'all like to have promotional screwdrivers sent out as marketing tools so your great grandkids can have these in their junk drawer? They're probably way shittier. What you get now is probably way shittier than what this is. Dustin, somebody's paying 16 of HP for free. I have my little Phillips, but it's I had it sitting out here, but it's like a newer one. It's the one everybody also has. It's like the clear and blue handle. Uh, I don't have the it was a guy painting warts for $5 each a while back. Well, you get what you pay for. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, there it is. That one. I think everybody's got that one too. This is a good old Harbor Freight. Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying, AJ. But for $5, you're probably not getting your baits handed. You're probably not even getting the hooks taken off. Uh, yeah, I'd like maybe I'll look. Maybe that would be a good. I think that would be an excellent promotional gift. Screwdriver. Here you go, guys. Uh, oh, y'all will get a very big kick out of this. So I had a box at the house, um, and it had some baits in it. It had some things in it, and it was during Christmas, and I hadn't been to the shop, so it had been sitting at the house. Well, the bean finds it, and she starts pillaging in this box, and the next thing I know, she has opened her first Christmas gift, except it wasn't hers. You want to see what she opened? What she helped herself to opening? Yes, she plucked my brand new Booger Man, new old stock, right out of the box. Ripped the skirt out, skirt fell off. Bean opened her first Booger Man Racket Buzz. Congratulations, Bean. That would you saved me the heartache of having to open it up, and you put. So maybe I can glue this back together or something. But so Bean, did you open a present? And she said, "Yeah." So what you got? And I looked at it and I was like, "Woo!" But who cares? Just a fucking buzz bait. But it was pretty funny. She does know a good buzzer when she sees one. Marty, she's pretty good, dude. I've trained her since she was very small. She's pretty good with hooks. Um, she's literally been around them. Y'all have seen her since she was in a crib or in her little carrier. Uh, you know, since she could walk, she was walking around grabbing baits that had hooks on them, and I'd have to like take them away from her. But she learned pretty good how to stay away from the hooks and what not to do. So not to say that it won't happen, but I try and keep when she comes here, it's like a mad dash for me. Like I'll take my arms and I'll move everything off the desk like up to where she can't reach it. Um, and I'll have to like this that I think that's why my office stays destroyed is because I'll hear them like come in the front door and I'll hear, "Hey, Dada," and I'll be like, "Fuck!" And I'll like just start like mass exodus of moving stuff off the desk to where she can't get to hooks, and I've got them everywhere. So it's usually just a damn shitstorm of me throwing hooks and stuff around so she can't get to them. But I think that's where everything gets discombobulated. Um, Buddy told me when my first was born to take all my Loomis rods and just break them over my knee to save me from getting mad at her when she breaks them. She actually, I have a video of her walking down the hallway with a Team Daiwa, the old Team Daiwa that Darius sent me. She was walking it down the hall, and she was actually she wasn't that big. Uh, she was two, I guess, but she was walking it down the hall, and she actually was putting it under the doors. So she's been pretty good with the rod. She hasn't. That's knock on wood. She hasn't broken anything yet. I mean, the only real uh, she did wedge a RC 1.5 inside the bathtub drain, and I have no clue how she got it in there that hard. But she got a RC 1.5 stuck in the drain, and it stopped the bathtub up, and I literally had to get a pair of pliers and pull the thing out because it was wedged in there so hard. And when I got it out, like the whole bill had like cut and made a notch in it to where it had like been driven down in there. I don't know what she used, but it was pretty impressive. Um, so that in the Booger Man are her only real uh, destructive bait losses. Um, which the Booger Man in the loss is just it's just out of its original old vintage packaging. So Vin can relate with his granddaughter. That's good. I like. I got uh, I had a boat paddle sitting on the ground out in the yard, and Bean picked it up yesterday, and she was sitting on the ground, and she was acting like it was a fishing pole. She's like, "Dad, I'm fishing." I was like, "Oh, okay, you got one?" Or you? I was like, "You're fishing? You catching anything?" And she started like pulling on it. She was like, "I got one. I got one." I was like, "You got one? Get him in." She's like, "I got him." I was like, "The big one?" She said, "No, it's just a teeny one." I said, "Okay, so what are you gonna do with it?" She said, "I'm gonna throw it back." I said, "Good for you." Um, Daniel, what's up? Are the old Super Rogues? Yeah, I think the Super Rogue is the one that Jason Christie has now made famous. That it is now out in the open. That the one that Jason Christie throws is indeed the old Super Rogue. Uh, so they discontinued them, and now I believe they are bringing them back. But like with all things gone and brought back, I'm sure they will suck, and people will complain about them. So, and these had stick-on eyes, if you notice. So I was trying to think of something cool I could do to these eyes, but I'm gonna have to be pretty careful trying to extract them because they are very, very unique eyes. Oh, and they're very gummy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. These might be these are gonna fall apart. I could probably heat these up. If I were Japanese, I would probably heat these up. If I were one of those Japanese lure painting gurus, I would probably heat these up and take like a piece of floss and run down this eyeball and get the glue out. Maybe I should use that type of precision to get these out. Maybe I'll just wait and not just run a knife blade through them and gum them all up and figure out how to fix them later. Maybe I'll do it the right way. Dustin, does he paint baits for the public? I really like those guys, Dustin. That you see them around. Like there's a couple baits I've seen painted over the years of guys that nobody ever knew who they were, or they didn't like advertise, or they were local and they just like did stuff like that. Um, they do really really cool shit that you never see. Um, that do cool stuff, but and I like that. Like part of me, part of me makes you wonder how many guys out there that are like really really uh, great at what they do that nobody ever sees. They just like do it for like a few people. Uh, Nate, what's up, dude? Casey lost a deep diving rogue the other day. Did you hook it on a stump or did you break your line? Yeah, we'll have to start showing real ID now. You can't see the gray in my whiskers hardly. Slay Nation, see you later. Uh, Stump. Casey, what is the water temperature where you are fishing? Can I go ahead and guess 44? Daniel, I have. Um, Daniel T on YouTube asks, "Have I done a custom paint job on a guitar?" Um, I have painted when I was in Austin. I painted a dude's Telecaster. Uh, we did the nitrocellulose lacquer on it. It's up to 47. Wow, having a heat wave. Uh, but I painted that, and it was like this cherry red. We like sanded it down to the bare wood, and then we did just like a cherry red uh, candy on it, and the lacquer top coat. It looked good, looked real good. Um, Maybe wouldn't have been my choice, but it still looked good. I have also done. I did a guitar for myself that I completely covered in copper leaf. I took a strap body and covered it in copper leaf, and never clear coated it, which was probably a mistake. But because now it's gotten dinged around, the body's been sitting at my parents' house and it's been getting thrown around and moved around, and it's got like chunks taken out of it. But I was looking at it over the holidays, and I was thinking to myself, I should probably redo this guitar. But then I was also looking at it and was thinking, this was a lot of copper leaf. So the other thing I did to it, which was interesting, was I wanted to tarnish the copper. I wanted to oxidize it. I wanted to age it. So I started thinking, I was like, well, if this shit really does have copper in it, what tarnishes or what oxidizes, what ages copper? So I went down this whole wormhole of metallurgy and like all this shit of what does what to certain metals. So I found out that liver of sulfur is what you would need to change the color of copper. So I ordered this canister, little vial of liver of sulfur, and I started putting liver of sulfur all over this copper. And varying effects of, you know, oxidation or whatever, but it turned out pretty good. And I don't think the copper content of copper leaf is very high because this shit didn't do much, but it did something. Um, so I never put a neck on that body. I never clear coated it. I never did anything. It's just copper leafed sitting there with chunks taken out of it. But it almost looks good enough though, to where it's kind of relict looking from all the copper leaf getting worn off of it. Um, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that one. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I bought it. I bought that guitar specifically to do that with, just to do something with. I wanted to paint a guitar. I wanted to do something weird on a guitar, so I did that. I copper leafed it. Vinegar and salt. That would probably. I feel like that would work on anything. And I aged the hardware. I put it in the muriatic acid and aged all the hardware. And it was fun, little project. But like I said, back then I had more time than I had anything, so I would you could do dumb shit like that. But there's knowing now what I know, I would probably go about the process of which I applied all that shit a little bit differently. So um, I don't know what I was doing. I didn't have a clue, but I have to go back over there and uh, find that thing. Oh, where was I? 47 in North Texas. It's not terrible water temps, not my ideal, but vinegar might clean copper. I don't know. It's that's why I went with the liver of sulfur, according to my alchemy book. Finished up the last episode of Wednesday on Netflix last night. That was pretty good. Went from 0 ice to 8 inches in 3 days to unsafe ice in 2 days. How thick does ice need to be for you to feel comfortable uh, operating on it? Because I know every time I watch, did I test the flat side burns? I have not tested the flat side. It is. I was going to go test baits today, but it's damn raining like crazy, so um, I'm not getting out there in the damn rain and seeing what's what. So um, I'll have to wait. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. 3.5 inches of fresh, clear ice, and I'm good. Because I remember watching on Grumpy Old Men when they're ice fishing. Dude drives a Scout on the ice. How thick does ice have to be to drive a Scout on it? Like, are there still ice fishing communities like that, like in Grumpy Old Men, where there's like basically permanent residents set up to fish, ice fishing communities where you can drive your truck to your shanty? 12 inches. Nate, there are. That's pretty awesome. Is there old timers out there like smoking Camel non-filters and drinking beer? Just because I hadn't seen one or aftermarket in purple, I put a purple pick guard on a cherry sunburst Les Paul. Daniel, how'd that turn out? Are you happy with it? I can't even begin to have an idea of what that looks like. 3 degrees on 1223 to 76 on 223. Looks like twisty wind time. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't like that, Burnsy. I don't like twisty winds. Um, I guess there's probably not a reason. Uh-oh, neighborhood watch, severe thunderstorm. There's probably no reason for me to save these shitty triple grips. I guess I should go ahead and remove these. Some of the ice shanties are super bougie now. Oh, that's lame. Why does money always have to get in the way? You know what I mean? Like you got your old style. Like I'm sure there's tons of blockets out there on the ice when these new guys with all their new technology roll in, and they're sitting in their same ice fishing shanty from the damn 70s, and then some new dickhead rolls in with his like Polaris Ranger and his you know badass ice shanty and all his sonar and shit, and they're thinking, look at this asshole. Why can't we just hold up maybe a little honor for the old cloth and just like do it do it the old fashioned way. We got to bougie it up. The old fellas rocking the clamshell or 5-gallon buckets are generally the ones on them. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Mid-South deep freeze blizzard. Week later, flash floods and tornadoes. 2 days later, back to blizzard. That's about it. Fishing with Vin, I pretty much put 2s on everything. Unless it's a bait that's really picky about hook size. I say they're 2s. They're like 4.5 millimeter, I believe. I put a short shank triple grip on the front and a Zowire round bend on the back. That is one thing I cannot do. That is one thing that really, really bothers me. And I would like to hear if I'm the only anal retentive OCD dickhead that can't handle this, but I can't handle having 2 style hooks different on the same bait, such as a regular round bend on the front and a triple grip on the back, or a triple grip on the front and then a regular round bend on the wherever. I rather lose fish than have to look at different size hooks. Like if you told me this is the way, your hookups will be way better if you run the triple grip on the front. I still wouldn't do it. I couldn't look at it. It would bother me too bad. So later, Daniel. Been trying 2 different styles for a year now. I can't tell a difference. Well, that's good for me. That's good for me. I've had buddies that did it, but I couldn't look at it. I couldn't tolerate it. I won't stand for it. AJ uses a 6-gallon bucket. I wonder what those old. I wonder what the old cloth Nate thinks of these dudes that pull up with their Yeti bucket. And then their old buddy looks over there smoking a cigarette and says, "You know what that dude paid for that bucket?" He's like, "What? Like $150." He's like, "For a fucking bucket?" It's like, "Yeah." I tell you what, they probably don't talk like that up there though. That would be if Southerners ice fished. I don't know how Northern people talk. As long as you keep them sharp, they do their job. There you go. They have a laugh at those dipshits. Yeah, I can see that. I'd like to. What would? All right, so back in the day, you had like you had fish camps, right? You had Wingates on Seminole, which is a very famous like fish camp community. You have places on Toledo and Rayburn that people go to, like Lake Fork Marina. I think down there is a pretty famous like place. Uh, and there's other like places like that across the country that are like little fishing communities that are famous in that specific lake or whatever. Um, what do you think would be the oldest, most historical, still going ice fishing community? Like if I wanted to experience real, like a real old school throwback kind of like fishing, ice fishing shanty community hut place, are there lots of them still, or is there like a famous one where like people go there on like vacation? I'll sit on damn ice before I pay $150 for a bucket. I'm with you, Nate. That just seems a little silly to me. Dustin says Rhinelander, Wisconsin, or the Eel Pat Festival. Can I look these things up? I need a marker. Let me write this down. I just heard the name a lot on ice fishing shows. Rhinelander, Wisconsin. And then Eel Pout Festival. Yeah, I just fishing with Vin. Good talking to you, man. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again. See you later. Um, Darius, I do need to ask Hella. I would like to. That would probably be on my bucket list, pun intended, to go up there and experience like a sit with some old timer and hammer Marlboro Reds and drink Schlitz and coffee and do whatever else these old timers do, and sit in a damn 30-year-old moldy ass, you know, shanty and ice fish. That sounds like fun. I don't want to sit in some new douchey tent like Manson would fish out of. That's lame. I want to do it. I want to do it the real way. Got a relative with a small farm pond loaded with 1 pound gills. Do you catch them through the ice? Winnebago. Let me write that down. Okay. But I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody document shit like that. Not that I'm going to document it, but I would like to. In theory, that would be great if tackle crafts could just travel around the world and or travel around the nation and make cool fishing content. That would certainly be something I would do. Uh, Ice fishing fish taste better, I guess, because they go. How like does a fish die instantly when you take it out of the ice? Is it that cold? Or I guess when because I see these guys fishing outside in like a blizzard with no tent or anything, and they've got on these like big giant snowsuits, and they're sitting there over this hole, and they'll catch like a little perch, and they'll take it off the hook with their big mitten gloves. They've got like catcher's mitts for gloves, and they'll take them off, and they'll like put it on the ice, and I'm like, surely it looks cold enough that that fish is like dead instantly, but I don't know. All right, we got another recommendation. So you can make a whole series out of this. The Brainerd JC's Ice Fishing Extravaganza. Brainerd. Extravaganza. Well, there you go. All right. Big ice fishing tournament. Interesting. Burns, it does sound cold, but I think I could deal with it for long enough to get my fix. Um, oh, you were talking about lacquer thinner, dicking the foam up, Burns? Called my old buddy John Pryor, and I said, Pryor, you know about these foam suddits, right? He said, yeah, I helped build the molds for them. I said, well, how do I get this paint off without dicking the foam up? He said, the foam's pretty tough, uh, but you can't soak them in lacquer thinner. You just have to wipe them and it should come off. I said, okay. So I'm going to try and wipe these clean with lacquer thinner and get some of this crappy clear coat off. But we shall see. We shall see. Minnows will stay alive in a chew can longer than you'd think. Is that like a dip can? Like a skull can? You keep minnows alive in a skull can? How many minnows will fit in a skull can? All right, we're ready for action. But I knew Pryor was the guy to ask. John Smith, how goes it? Um, but he's in Texas, and he said his phone wouldn't dial out because he's out in the middle of. Yeah, I know Burns. I'll be screwed if that thing goes on the floor. I wonder what that's made out of. Pryor could tell me. I have to call Pryor and say, Pryor, I lost a pen. What do I get? What do I need? Uh, you're only carrying a few around at a time. It's very interesting. I got to try this at least once just to get my fix, just to see what it's all about. But it seems fun. Here's a tip, Burns. Check this out. AJ says you have to put your beer in a cooler in order to keep it warm. John, you like the Ned and the clean shave? Thank you, sir. This is not this is not indicative to a new year, new me. This is just new Christmas pictures. Shave the beard off; it'll grow back. So I was trying to give my wife kind of terrified me. So they used to have these full luscious lips, and my wife told me that her dad had a mustache, and he wore his mustache was so heavy, and he had it for so long that it like sucked his upper lip away. Like it made his lip sag, and it like tucked his lip down, so he didn't have an upper lip. Uh, and I was like, I don't want to lose these things, or at least one. So maybe I'll give it a little break. See if my lip pucker comes back. Kyle, I watch these assholes do this. Like Rogan, they'll sit there and like get in their little ice baths, and I watched that dude from whether he's from like Netherlands or somewhere, or Austria, the old guy that's like, I haven't had a cold in 48 years since I started taking these ice baths. Um, and I don't know, dude. I don't think I can do that shit. Because not only do I like a hot shower, I like when I get out of the shower, I like to have red whelps on my chest and shoulders from the water being so hot. Like I get it right to the point where it's like, or I turn it on hot and then I get in, and then gradually, as I get acclimated to the heat, I turn it up to the point where it's like just about to like do physical harm, or it's hard to breathe from all the steam. Um, Eric, I did, um, but I don't know how these dudes are. And I started thinking about it. I was like, well, maybe if you get in this ice bath, maybe it's the same. Maybe it's the same burning sensation, so I might actually like it if it burns like a shower. But I tried to do some cold showers a couple times to see if I could like tolerate. Because Amy was like, "Well, I think the guy says you can start off rather than jumping straight into like the ice bath. You can do a cold shower every day, and it's supposed to help your health." And I tried that, and uh, I would do that, and that didn't last very long. Because as soon as I'd get in there and it'd be cold, I'd just like jack the hot water up. But boiling point showers. See, that's what I came out of the shower a few times early on with Amy, and she was like, "Do you have a rash?" I'm like, what? She's like, "Do you have a rash on your body?" I was like, "No." She's like, "What's that from?" I was like, "It's from the shower." She's like, "You take a shower that's hot that it like scalds your skin?" Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Fill a bucket with ice water and then put your foot in it and see how long you. That's a good trainer, I guess. Burns an ice bucket with just your foot in it. Yeah. I'm going up to South Dakota in February and renting an ice castle. Might get a guide with a snow bear. AJ, I don't even know what any of that means. What is a snow castle and what is a snow bear? What is an ice castle? Is it literally a castle made of ice? Also hasn't seen his pecker in since he started taking ice baths. Probably not. It's probably a good way to get you a sex change. That's what I'm saying, Dustin. Can't be good for your nads. I think I'll pass on the ice bass. Speaking of ice bass, I told Amy something yesterday. She's like, I think she asked me if I wanted to watch some show. She's like, "Do you want to watch this?" I was like, "Dude, I'd rather take an ice bucket challenge than do that." And she's like, "Did anybody ever nominate you for an ice bucket challenge?" It's like, no, surprisingly. Uh, but I never got ice bucket challenged, and this is not an open invite to bring back the ice bucket challenge. But AJ has possibly lost his mind from paint fumes, says Marty Burns. Ice Castle is like a pull behind camper that you can fish out of. Snowberry, you'll just have to look it up. Sounds bougie, AJ. You might be exactly the guy we're talking about. All the old flannel wearing cigarette smokers in their little rundown shanties are watching you and your ice castle pull behind your Polaris Ranger. Hella, we had a question that you might be able to answer. So, you may or may not know, but I'm my favorite movie of all time is Grumpy Old Men, and I was talking about their the thickness of the ice that they were on when they go to the ice fishing community. So there's like a sign set up that's like says, something about the ice fishing town, and all these people have their little permanent residence set up on the ice. And I wanted to know if there are still places like that where old timers go and they have their like houses from the 80s that they still drag out on the ice, because I would like to visit one of them and smoke cigarettes and drink coffee and beer with these guys, and do it like the old days, not in one of these horseshoe ice castles. But I would like to know if there is a famous ice fishing community where the old timers still gather and do it like the old days. Because I want to wear, like, I don't want to wear some nice, like, tech suit that like keeps me warm in -20. Like, I want to wear, like in the old days, you just like put on all your like passed down military shit from your dad and your grandparents to keep you warm, and just wore like layers on layers of your jumpsuit and all your other shit. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to wear like, I want to go out there with 7 flannel shirts on and some military jacket and go ice fishing in an old crusty cabin shanty. I don't want to do it the nice way. I don't want a snow bear. I don't want a nice castle. But I want to know where the best one is, or if there's a famous one that people make their pilgrimages to. AJ will be ice fishing in 68 degrees. Yes, AJ will be in a recliner with central heating and air and a flat screen TV. When is the ice the thickest typically? February? January? Is it about to be prime ice thickness coming up? Kyle, you have sweaty feet just like me. That's why your feet froze. The last one we were in had satellite TV. Come on, dude. You can't tell me that that was enjoyable. As much internet and bullshit as we get hit with, I just want to be in the shanty. Oh, you sleep in it too? I guess hence why they call it a castle. I can understand at night watching a little ice hockey before you go to bed. That would probably be pretty enjoyable. Uh, I have 10-plus-year-old Carhartt bibs and an older coat, long johns, a sun shirt, a fleece pullover, wool socks, $20 20-year-old Walmart boots, and I don't get cold. There you go. But you're used to that shit. You don't have this. You don't have this damn southern blood. Yeah, I'll bring Bassmasters and some old Jerry Reed movies, whichever one you want to watch. Ooh, hot girls, woohoo! Um, Hot girls for me. Uh, Damn it, Hella. I'll have to message you later. So these nice folks don't have to listen to me repeat this for the 17th time. Um, Heater in the shack will have you sipping sweet tea and lemonade. Telling you, this sounds like fun. Hell, we're talking about ice fishing. I want to go. I want to go to the Graceland of ice fishing communities, where and I want to do it grumpy old men style in an old fishing shanty with like old geezers drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. Where does that happen? Everyone in Wisconsin used to drink old style beer on the ice. Do they still make that stuff? Yeah, hello. Where does that happen? Where are all the old men in their original 1970s shanties drinking Schlitz, smoking unfiltered cigarettes? Like fishing with ice in our drinks? So you can still find some like old school ice fishing because that's what I want to do. I want like where you go to like the whole, it's like part of the whole town. And it's like a bunch of you know old raggedy old characters out there. Blackberry brandy or apple pie moonshine? I want a shanty town. That's what it is, Dustin. A shanty town. Not driving out on the ice in my 2027 Polaris Ranger with doors and heater and satellite TV in my ice castle. None of that shit. All those dudes are dead from smoking and drinking on the ice. You're probably right, Burns. You're probably right. Hella hasn't ice fished in 20 years. Come on, dude. Oh yeah, sorry. Hello. In your absence, we we booked you as our guide for an ice fishing extravaganza. All the flat bellied experts, yeah, they'll be taking a. They took a dirt nap 20 years ago. All those flat bellied experts. Oh, well played, AJ. Well played. Even if you are going to an ice castle and douching it up on the ice, I bet you sit out there and smoke your $30 stogies. Sip your Buffalo Trace, your Pappies. What else? Do you wear your nicely polished Lucchese boots out there? Most people that Hella knows fish out of the little flip over tent sled things. Yeah, that doesn't sound appealing. I won't shag carpet. I won't. I won't smoke stains in the ceiling. Fish outside and tough it out. Nah, I ain't about that life, dude. I'm not trying to tough it out. Sitka ice gear. Sitka does have nice stuff. I guess while I'm sitting here, I could start sanding these Burnsies. Burnsy, it looks like you. It looks like you got a little bit started on this one, and then you said, "No, I'm good." You realize you don't really need feelings in your hands. Yeah, I don't see how those guys sit out there in the blizzards. Shag carpet and smoke stains on the ceiling. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's the type of experience I'm looking for. That's the kind of legendary lakes tour I'm looking for, Eric. Real shit. I want Pokey sitting on the back of her truck selling cigarettes and honey buns and cans of chili and Vienna wieners and shit like that. Sardines. It's when they bite the best is in a snowstorm. I can see that. I guess the pressure's still dropping. I'm really excited about these baits. Comfort level is all dependent on the wind. I could definitely see how that would be very very true because anytime we're out in Kansas and the wind doesn't blow, which is very rare, 20 degrees is pleasant, but 35 degrees with a wind is awful. With Schaefer and Ham's beer signs, now we're talking. Now we're talking. You know what? Even uh, maybe if we're bored, maybe listen to an AM radio station. How about that shit? Maybe see if we could take maybe see if we could catch a little midday. What do they call it? We used to when we were in Kansas. They used to have it the swap shop on the radio stations. Listen to a little swap shop on the radio. Do you know how to play cribbage? Because that is the currency of ice fishing. That is how people pass the time ice fishing up there. No, I don't believe I've ever played a game of cribbage that I know of. Educational radio stations were awesome before podcasts became a thing. There you go. I think one of my most fond memories when I was deer hunting in Kansas, and it wasn't that long ago, like we've been hunting out there like 14 years. But when we first got out there, the first like 5 years we were there, um, the local Kansas radio station, pretty much the only one we could get. They did Swap Shop, and people would call in and say, "I got a, I got a, I got a Lazy Boy recliner. Had it for about 2 years. It's blue, real nice looking. I want to get $45 for it. My name's Greg." It's like, all right. And then, hey, this is Steve. You're on Swap Shop. What you got? Hey, this is Eric. This is Epic Eric. I've got 47,000 crankbaits I'd like to sell. Okay, just leave your name and number, and I will see if somebody can get back to you. Thanks. Eric says it is confirmed that I was here on this planet in the 50s. Possibly. Casey, they still do Swap Shop in East Texas? That's good. John D said his uncle used to get up early on Saturdays and buy shit off the AM radio Swap Shop show. 40,000, that's it. No, that's just what he's getting rid of. That's just what he's willing to part with. But dude, I cannot tell you how entertaining it was to sit there and like eat lunch and listen to all these like people call in and sell their shit on the radio. Like, and then they had on top of that, after they get done with that, you get the ag report and you get to listen to them talk about all the like corn and wheat and all that kind of stuff and all the cattle reports and all that kind of stuff. And like all this stuff was very interesting. But then like all of a sudden, I think somebody bought that radio station or that changed ownership and they got rid of all that shit. And it was just like shitty radio. Like you turn it on now and it's like Jason Aldean 16 times in a row. It's like, where's Swap Shop, dude? I want Swap Shop. I don't want Luke Bryan. Turn his ass off. That is not what the world needs. The world does not need more Luke Bryan and more Aldean. We need Big Iron on repeat and Swap Shop. Give me a thumbs up on YouTube if you are down with some Big Iron and Swap Shop. EE's wife would be the most mad at him for him getting off of 40,000 crankbaits. See, Eric, Mr. Geiger, I am sanding some Marty Burns fat flats. In my ice fishing shanty, we listen to Marty Robbins and Jerry Reed. Maybe even Mel Tillis if I'm feeling froggy. Darius is down. If I want to get real futuristic, I might throw in my Mel McDaniel tape. Any deeper flats in the works from Mr. Burns? Nate, I do have one that I would like him to recreate. But the issue with it is I don't know how it's going to convert into a deeper running bait. So I'm trying to take a shallow running bait and convert it into a 6-foot diver. And we don't know how that's going to work yet. So we'll see. It's a weird profile, though. Not like anything you've ever seen from me or Burns. Eddie Arnold. We could probably I could probably dig up some find you an old Eddie Arnold tape around here somewhere. I was digging through I was at my parents' house. Uh, a deep diving balsa bait. I don't probably Bagley DB3 is probably the most famous deep diving, but I guess if you really want a deep diving balsa bait now, you'd have to get like a Rapala DT20. Would be about the most consistent bait you could get. Um, I know I need to mail it, Burns. Burns, this place has been shut down, dude. You can't get jack shit done around here. And I haven't done much. Like I would be out there trying to soda blast these damn things, but it's raining. Oh, Rich, that's probably the Highwaymen is probably one of my favorite groups that has ever been assembled. I don't know that the Highwaymen will ever be topped. But the only thing I never could understand where Chris Christopherson fit in. You know what I mean? Like everybody else in the group was like a monster musician. And then there's like Christopherson. I don't know. He just seemed like an oddball. He fit, but I just thought he was an odd. Like, how'd he get in there? Great voice, though. Do I mind painting blanks people send you? I do not. I do not. I like blanks. The only thing I mind is when people take it upon themselves to order their own blanks, thinking that they're going to save money by doing that, or for whatever reason people want to buy their own blanks and send them off and have them painted. That typically is a bad idea because I don't know. I feel like Christopherson was the writer. Ah, interesting. I didn't know he was that. I didn't know he was that well versed as a songwriter. Interesting. That's good to know. I got a whole new respect for Christopherson now because, yes, I would make recommendations on where to buy and what to buy, for sure. But I've had a lot of guys send in baits that they have bought on their own blank wise, and they're usually really really bad. Um, but thank you for answering that because I was always curious as to what he, besides his voice, like I knew there had to have been something that he brought to the table, and that clears it up. That would explain a lot. Dennis the Menace, what's up, dude? That would explain a lot. Correct, AJ. Paint does not matter on a bait with shitty action, or no amount of paint will make a shitty blank that has holes in it not sink. Never been ice fishing. Christopherson has written hundreds of songs that you've heard but never realized. That I that I had no clue of. I didn't know he was a songwriter. I really burst my buddy's bubble growing up because he was a huge George Strait fan. And he's like, George is the king, George is the shit. And all he wanted to do is listen to George Strait. I'm like, dude, George Strait, he's like, he like for Christmas, he got his like 100 number ones or whatever album, like box set. I was like, dude, he didn't write any of those. He's like, what? I was like, George Strait didn't write shit, dude. He's just like this little dude that just goes up there and sings. He's like, nah. I'm like, look it up. He started looking at the writing credits, and he's like, he's not on any of these. I'm like, yeah, dude, didn't write shit. Was neither they like Garth Brooks or any of those other like country guys, but he was really disappointed. He was really disappointed. But you don't realize that when you're a kid growing up. You hear these guys, and you're like, oh, they're awesome. But it's all smoke and mirrors, right? Like you got a guy like George Jones, and he just performs, and you're like, oh, this guy's a god among insects as a musician, but not all true. Kyle, yes, a shitty paint job on a good action bait will catch fish. Most certainly. But best of both worlds. Good paint, good action, then you got something. Christopherson wrote Bobby McGee. Janis Joplin? Was she the original performer of that, or was that a previous? Was the Joplin version a cover? Interesting. Getting a little music history today, guys. Getting a little music history today. Burns said you don't even have to paint his baits in the catch fish. Do any of your baits have bucktail on the hooks? No. Uh, he smoked weed with the best. That's right. No, I've never. I don't. I thought about doing that on some of these spooks. I was gonna tie a feathered treble up for some of them because I got into fly tying for a while. Not really actual flies, but tying. Well, I did. I mean, I guess you would call it fly tying. Um, but it was mainly tying jigs and trebles and stuff. And I got into that for a little while, and it kind of got boring. Like I got good enough to where I could make my trebles look decent enough. Um, Roger Miller sang it first. There you go. Kenny before Janis. Kenny Rogers and Gordon Lightfoot. Bobby McGee first by Roger Miller. There you go. But yeah, I got just decent enough that I could make my stuff look pretty decent. But I never wanted to be like expert level fly tire. Um, I just wanted to tie treble hooks and stuff for bass fishing. But I do have a jig that I tied probably. I need to pull up the video and post it just for uh, time stamping the shit I was doing 12 years ago. that I still never did anything with, like a fucking asshole. I can't tell you all the shit I've done that I've sat on my dick about in like a decade gone by, and then all of a sudden somebody be like, "Oh, look at this shit, it's awesome," and like people get into it. I'm like, dude, I thought I had like the means and methods to do some of this shit. Like back then, it would have been really nice. But the I tied up this little hybrid jig that had some hair, had some silicone, had some other proprietary pieces of fabric, and it's probably, I would say it's probably one of the most realistic, badass looking crawfish imitators you have ever seen in your life. Insane action. And I have a video that I filmed in my parents' bathtub, not with them in it, but uh, I filmed it on a BlackBerry phone, I believe, and and it's me pulling the jig through the bathtub. And it might be older than 12 years now. But when y'all see this damn jig, you'll say, "Holy shit, that looks awesome." And it did. The only problem the only problem with it was I couldn't time fast enough, and I didn't want to post it and then have somebody that was more willing and able to make it in a larger volume. I didn't want to put it out there for that to be hijacked. So I just never posted it or did anything with it. Um, but I think at this point, there's probably been a few designs that are pretty close, but the ones that I've seen that are decently close, they have one very substantial design flaw in the way they tie the bait. And like I said, I've seen like a couple of guys that have done something similar, and there's one thing that I did very different, um, that most of these guys haven't done, and it makes a big difference on how the bait looks. Um, but this particular jig I'm talking about was, I can honestly say, and I remember it because I took this jig out and it was cold. Like I said, it's got hair and shit on it. So anytime you think hair on a jig, you think cold water. So um, I tied one of these things up and I was like, I'm gonna go fish this thing like in the wintertime. And I show up at the lake and it's cold. It's probably this time of year or February. And I pull up to this little, uh, it's almost like a pothole. Like you got a big flat, and then it's got these two little islands, and in between the islands is like this little pothole. And fish will get in there in the wintertime sometimes. And I'm dragging this jig through this pothole, and I get the bite, and it's like electricity, like bone jarring, like you feel it. And as soon as I got that bite, I was like, that is the hardest jig bite I've ever gotten in my life. And and of course I missed the fish, but and it was on that jig. But it seemed like every time I got a bite on that jig, it was insanely hard. Like it wasn't, nothing was ever soft about it. Um, but I would like to have that jig made in uh, made in mass. Um, and But the thing, like the thing about now, like with social media, you can
you can post something and the right people see it, and that's got the resources to do something, and shit, you see it on Tackle Warehouse in 6 months. I'm not saying it like happening to me, but like it does happen a lot to other people and people who build and do shit. So I would like to, I would like to see that jig come to life. I don't. It would probably. I don't know what. I don't know that it would ever come to life. Or I don't, like if it came to life, I don't know how great of a seller that would be. Um, Hella, how does Tackle Warehouse pay? Is there what is their what are they like a net 60, net 90? What is their payout? They are innovative and put years of R&D into the bait. Exactly. Exactly. What is my favorite Japanese crankbait maker? That is easy. I'm a Katsu. That is easy. I'm a big fan of that brand. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about Megabass and their paint jobs. Um, and if you took, I'm not taking anything away about the application of a Megabass paint job. They're beautiful and they're typically flawless. And but as far as like the color combinations and all that kind of stuff, if you put their paint jobs on other baits that weren't Megabass, they probably wouldn't raise much of an eyebrow. Like when people are going crazy over all these Megabass paint jobs, they're like, "Oh my god, this bait is so badass." It's probably been done 100 times, but when you put it on a Megabass bait, it looks so much better. That like when you really dissect what's going on, like they'll Megabass can literally paint a bait one solid color, and people are like bricking up over it. Like, oh my god, you see that Megabass shit? And it's like, dude, it's literally red. That's like Ivan. How goes it? You ready to come off some of that old tackle, bro? You ready to come off some of them moon glows? What is my favorite Japanese balsa builder? Great question. I would have to say, it would have to be, it would have to be Riddle. Maybe I don't know. MPB is pretty fucking good. So that dude's named Ryu. Uh, that's a good question, Kyle Burnsy. If you're still there, who is the Marty Burns of Japan? Have you heard of Plots? That sounds familiar, and I don't know where I've seen it or heard it, but I feel like I follow that person on Instagram. Come on, Ivan. Where'd you get those things from, dude? Ivan's over here like, oh, I got some wild boars. They're pretty sweet. I got some cherry blossoms sitting in my closet collecting dust. Like y'all can have all that baby pig bullshit, like the the damn wild boars and all the like MPB and like riddle bait shit. That's like real art. Drip baits are always beautiful. There's there's a lot of those guys, but I feel like MPB has always been like ahead of the curve. Swap some bourbon? What a hell of a trade, dude. What a hell of a trade. They got boned. They got hosed on the bourbon trade. Ivan, when was the last time you purchased a collectible fishing lure? I feel like it's probably been some time. Favorite match the hatch color? Crawls are fun. Monkey brains. Yeah, the monkey brains are very tasty. Uh, 5 years. That sounds about right. MPB, yeah, I saw his tackle stuff he did. They did look good. Yeah, he's those guys. I don't know how they cut their stencils for their baits, but the thing about it is, like the dude, I think his name's Ray something. This is an R. The guy from MPB. Um, like his and the riddle baits, dude. Um, their stencils for their baits were so insanely clean. I want to think that they weren't cut by hand because they're so perfect. And I hope they weren't, because that would be really deflating if they could cut stencils that flawlessly. Um, but when you look at their stencil work, I feel like they had to have had some sort of like Cricut machine even back in the day, but I feel like I don't know how they would have been doing it back then, and because like their shit was from like their shit was that clean back in like 2016. And I was looking at, like, you look at their old stuff and like the stencil work was so good, and it's like almost form fitting to the bait. And I don't think that that stuff at that time was because Jonas down in Australia, um, Lure Color Studio, or whatchamacallit, as he's called now, Follow Forms. Jonas did the Jonas did the 3D. He was the first to do the 3D printed shell stencils, and I don't think they were using that. I think they were doing some sort. I think they were having their stencils cut on some sort of adhesive film, and they were sticking them to the baits because their lines are too clean, and they seemingly mold around the bait, especially on the bottom. Like you see on those riddle baits, they'll have like crawl markings all the way down the top, over the shoulders, like on like everything. All their stencil work doesn't get that like feathered edge on it from when you're trying to lay something that's decently rigid on a bait like this. You're going to get some air gaps just for the nature of having to hold it with one arm and then like paint with the other, you can typically, it's really hard to get it completely to lay flat and hold it perfect. Um, so I'm guessing they had to have used some type of adhesive, but I don't know. I think Max not too far behind Marty on the builder level. I did see Max bait, stop, and start floating back up backwards like Marty's secondary action. Burnsy's baits will do that, and it's a thing of beauty. And if you've never owned one of Marty's baits, Burns, do all your baits back up with action? Because I feel like most of the ones I've thrown will. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, so for this bait as example, um, they'll wiggle down, and if you stop it and let it float, it'll wiggle backwards. It's like the sexiest thing you've ever seen. But some would call it secondary action. But if you gave me like a giant, like if I had like just infinite money to spend, I probably would get into the balsa wood world, Japanese stuff. But I wouldn't want to like I wouldn't want to buy like a bunch of wood Japanese baits. I would want to go to Japan and like meet these guys and just like see where they worked and how they worked. That would be way cooler to me than like owning 500 baits. Um, but Kyle, I think the funny thing about the JDM balsa prices, I think they're 100% accurate. Uh, like I think if one of those baits sold for $500, I don't think that's like too far out of the realm of possibilities of what that bait should be worth in the world of uh, being being the fishing lure world isn't okay with that. But I think as far as like craftsmanship, and if it were like in any other uh, genre of hobbies, like if they were like a carpenter, if they were like something else like that, that their product would probably be held to a higher regard. But just because it's a fishing lure, it gets lumped into fishing lure prices. Um, but I feel like that stuff should get what it is because they're perfect. Um, but like it would be really really cool for me to see how a expert balsa bait builder and bait painter goes about you know putting a bait together and painting it like from start to finish. That would be hugely fascinating to me. Um, Wonder what that would cost me to go meet the guy from MPB. Like, listen, dude, I'm gonna fly to Japan wherever you live. I'm gonna get a hotel room. What's it cost me for your 1 day of your time or 2 days of your time? Maybe a weekend of your time to build and paint. Like you already get the bodies ready and all that shit. I don't really care about watching you carve. Burns would probably be into that, but uh, uh, whatever you want to do, just get some baits ready to paint. Like cut the bills out of them. Like have the bill slots cut, get them sealed, all that kind of shit. And I just want to watch you like paint and put your baits together. That would be hugely fascinating for me. Marty, I remember seeing that. Uh, Marty said, I sent Mac 10 baits to finish, and he pulled all the lips before he did the finish work. So Mac is he's the guy behind Drip Baits. Makota, I think, is his name. Um, and he posted some baits, pictures of some baits that Marty had built, and he had painted them. And when I saw them, I got pissed at Burns because the bills had no mask lines on them, and the bill slots were fresh. So I saw that and I was like, that damn Burns sent this dude baits with the lip slots cut and let him put the bills in after it. He doesn't trust me to put the damn bills in. And then I realized it and I started looking at it and I was like, I think this maniac cut the damn bills out. So I like started looking at it and I was like, this dude removed those bills. And I'll tell you something for fact. Taking one of the bills out of Burns's baits is damn near impossible. Like I'm talking about that son of a bitch is in there. In there. Like I don't know how he didn't destroy the bait. I couldn't get this out without destroying this bait. But somehow that dude was able to remove that bill clean enough to paint it and then stick the bill back in and finish it. Uh, which in and itself, taking the lips out had to have taken an eternity, dude. Like that's what I think people don't understand, like about that like shit that they're doing over there, is it's not high volume at all. But like you see like a guy like Mac post 10 baits of Burnsies, and you're like, oh, those look cool. Oh, great paint jobs. No, dude. That dude spent a damn 2 weeks with surgeon like precision removing the bills without ruining anything on the bait. On top of the paint job and making it look awesome. Like the work that he put into that was insane to get these bills out. Just so it would look nice. And I'm a huge advocate of uh you know that aesthetic, but he did it and it was really awesome to see because when I saw the pictures I was like, that's something that took those bills out. And I've seen him do it before. Like I've seen him do it on WC baits and like other baits that if they're going to repaint like a balsa bait, they typically will cut the bill out. And there's some you run a pretty high risk of dicking some shit up. But I think it's Daniel. It's got to be heat. But I mean, this bill is encapsulated in a layer or two of epoxy, so you got to get through it, and then I believe it is super glued in the slot. And if the bill has a line through line tie on the bill, then you have to deal with that. Then that's also inside the bait. Uh, so Attention, Japanese balsa crafters. Tika will sign up for your Patreon lure making streams. Yes, I certainly would pay uh, lots of yen to be able to watch one of these guys put together baits. And I like that's the other funny thing. Like I'll watch no, excuse me, they're not super glued in, they're epoxied in. He says his bills are epoxied in, then epoxied over. Um, I would think if they were super glued, they would be double treacherous to remove. Because that I feel like that completely like you can't cut through that shit. Like it's too hard. Um, but I even watch shitty guys on YouTube. Like I'll go home and watch like go on a YouTube binge, and I'll sit there and watch guys paint baits, even if they're shitty. It's still entertaining to me. Um, Strangely enough, at the end of the day, I still enjoy watching other people do stuff, uh, even if they suck. To me, it's just interesting to see how people go about the same thing that I would, or to see how people like other people go about doing the same task. But I would like to be a fly on the wall for some of those really high end Japanese builders to see what they do. That's Daniel. It's usually me. Usually when they suck, it's usually me just yelling at the TV, uh, at the person doing the video, telling them uh, that they're giving bad information, or they're doing something wrong, or they're idiots, or whatever. Uh, Sometimes my blood pressure rises. I'm like, this fool. Name will be in there and be like, "What are you bitching about?" I'm like, "This idiot on TV trying to tell people to like prime their baits with Createx. I'm such a fool. It's not primer." And that's probably my biggest gripe. First thing I do is I prime my bait with Createx White, not a primer. Um, FD Customs. I forgot about FD. I didn't forget about FD, but FD does beautiful foil work, does beautiful paint work. Got the beautiful purple signature down the side of his baits. Um, yeah, I would love to just watch what those guys do. I mean, you got to say anything. You love watching anybody that's really good at what they do. Uh, it's fun to watch. Even better when it's lure. When it's fishing related. What's really fucking weird is when one of those guys will like reach out to me and be like, "Oh, we love what you do. We love your work. You're awesome." Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, like Marling. He's so much. Yeah, all that stuff's fun to watch. I will say his paintwork's got a lot better lately. I don't religiously watch Marling. I watch him. Uh, if something strikes my fancy, but uh, typically the builds are all the same, so I'm not like chomping the bit to see another Marling bait video. But the If a good one pops up that looks interesting, I'll watch it. Typically the paint. You know, if I see a thumbnail and it's got like a cool looking paint job, I'm like, oh, I'll watch him paint this. This will be fun. And I'll watch him get all his little clips out, start clipping his mesh on there, and it makes my skin crawl. Burns, I would think that would be argued. Burnsy says Japanese builders are artists. I'm not an artist. I'm more of a craftsman. No, that could be argued. But I can see your point. You enjoy the functionality of the bait, not the artsy fartsy part of it. You like making a talk. You like making a clock tick, not like making a watch. Mr. Geiger, you sure can. I'm sending you some things to check out, a few from my CNC days and other things I've done. Ooh, that sounds fun. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Touchers. They all are going to do the same thing. They're all going to be built relatively the same way. But if I feel like watching somebody build and paint something, that's the guy. And I think that's good because you know what you're getting into. You know what I mean? Like, you know what he's going to show. You know what part of the process you get. You're not going to get thrown into them curveballs. Like, hey, why didn't you show me that? TK Patreon content, live reaction stream to bad painters. Oh, that would be funny, but I don't. Wouldn't want to hurt any. I wouldn't want to hurt any up and coming painters' feelings. But I guess if you're getting on YouTube thinking you can teach people, you're not an up and comer. You think you know what you're doing, obviously, and that you're ready to educate. So you should be flamed. Never fished the Great Lakes. I've never been north of Kentucky to fish. Yeah, I flame AJ in DMs all the time. What'd you blast me on recently, AJ? My pupils being too small? I think it was. No, they were too big. No, you know how that is. Hella, as soon as I flame somebody, somebody's gonna record the screen, record the video, and then send it to somebody and be like, "Oh, TK's an asshole. He's fucking calling you a dick." Floatier, floatier. That's what I understand about the. That's what I understand about the. Oh, they were too big. Yeah. About the Japanese balsa bait guys, is uh, they want to retain the purest level of balsa that they can, meaning they want the highest level of float. So they use this like airplane grade balsa or competition grade balsa that's like super light. And Marty says it crumbles in your hands, that it's so like soft. But they like that shit that's like super 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 light. But then the coatings, they want the most minimal amount of coatings typically to seal the bait to retain the purity of the balsa. Um, And so if you notice, one thing I've heard is that they spray like most guys that do balsa baits will have some sort of dipping like sanding sealer, and then they'll dip in like a build coat to build up over the grain of the balsa, so you don't have any you know ugly wood grain showing through, and like texture. And those guys will spray like urethane clear coat and like spray like a couple coats, and then they will sand that shit till it's perfect, and then like spray another like one or two coats, and then like they will get that shit to where it is like just perfectly covering all the like texture of the wood, and it'll have been sanded like 16 times to get to that to get to that level, but it's perfect. And it's the last, like it's the most minimal amount of coverage to cover up the wood grain. It's pretty, I mean, it's pretty incredible the levels that they'll go to like do this shit. But I don't think any guys are with the soft bosses. The screw eyes could pull out. Well, that's another concern. That's true, Hella. That is true. Kick them out, and they no longer get custom overall Jort content. Yeah, then they'd have to pay triple to get back in to see the Jort content. That's the biggest complaint, Eric, I've ever heard with guys who get who actually fish some of these like JDM balsa baits. Like, dude, they don't hold up at all. Like one day of fishing, like if you really catch them on it, and the bait's destroyed. That's because their coatings are so thin. But they typically go against that with their with the foil, because that adds a pretty decent amount of coverage to the bait. So Mr. Geiger, I appreciate that. I would I'm okay with I'm okay. Like I hear guys bitch about you know their baits, and they're like, "Oh, my baits are meant to be fished. This isn't this isn't art. This is just a fishing lure. Nothing's too pretty to fish." I like it when people are like, "This thing's too pretty to fish. I'm gonna hang it on the wall. That's fine." Like I'm certainly okay with that. Don't like if you just want to have it and like look at it and be like, "Oh, this thing's real pretty." That's fine. I'd much rather you do that than go throw it on some stupid ass lake and lose it on two casts, and then it just live in the bottom of the lake. You don't get any, you know what I mean? Like you don't get any benefit out of it then anyway. Damn, Hella, what was Wednesday night? What was I doing? Oh, I was over at my mom's house with my nephew learning bala song, bala song. He got the damn butterfly knives for Christmas. So we were down in my parents' basement, and he had been working relentlessly day and night, uh, practicing his ball song. I kept calling it ball song. I was like, "How's your ball song?" And he's like, "It's getting better." And he got like a 4 pack of them from Amazon, and they were like shitty knives. They were like $4 a piece, and they kept falling apart. Like, these things suck. So he didn't really say it like that. He's like, "I think I need a better knife. These things aren't that great." So he uh, he ordered another one off Amazon, and it came in yesterday. But I went yesterday and got him some thread locker and a little precision screwdriver set so we could take the star drive little screws out of the knives and kind of work on them. But I I grabbed one of his other knives and I was flipping it around. He's like, "Do you want to learn something?" I was like, "Yeah, like show me something that's kind of hard." And he showed me this YouTube video of this guy, and he was like, "This is like an intermediate trick." And it was like a some sort of rollover or something. And I could do it in like it took me about 10 minutes. He's like, "Bro, how do you do that in 10 minutes?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "I've been trying to learn that for 3 days." I'm like, "One more experience." He's like, "Have you ball songed before?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Well, how do you have experience?" I'm like, "I don't know. I've just got life experience. I've got like hand experience. Like I use my hands every day. I have like coordination experience. I've got 30 years of coordination experience on you." And he said, "Bro, I watched The Outsiders." Believe it or not, AJ, I have never seen The Outsiders, but that is my friend George's favorite movie. He's married, uses his hand every day. Exactly, Hella. Exactly. I'm married, kid. You're not. So, but so Bala Eric, is the I guess it originated in the Philippines, and it's like the art of butterfly knife tricks. Yeah, how to flip around a butterfly knife. Um, but his are trainers, so they don't actually have a blade on it, so you don't have to worry about your hands getting cut. But it was pretty entertaining. But I will say, after I left and didn't have the ball song to play with, the ball song to play with, I kind of want one. They were pretty fun. Uh, AJ, I'd never heard of the movie, and I looked it up, and I could not imagine the all star cast of actors that were in that movie. It's literally like everybody. Uh, Frank, what's up, dude? Read the book. I don't remember reading many books in high school. I read Ike's book in high school or shortly thereafter. I read Bass Wars in high school. That's what I was thinking, Burns. That's what I was thinking. You need a blade. If he was getting cut every time he did some stupid move, you'd probably think twice about what you're doing. You'd probably be a lot better. Geiger is great. We got YouTube has been wonderful because when people call, YouTube doesn't get disconnected. And more people get on YouTube than Instagram, believe it or not. My YouTube now has surpassed Instagram. Who else has a day off of work? Good question. Burns, you good at ball songing? Burnsy was a flipper back in the day. That is, I guess, that is the proper terminology for somebody who practices bala song. Is a flipper. 5:30 pond pounding is off till Tuesday. That's nice. I'm kind of taking it easy on. I'm just trying to get as many baits prepped as I possibly can, and then I can just roll straight into painting when the. I didn't want to paint today. It's pissing rain, but I need to be painting because I need an income. That was smart, Hella. You need to try Bala Song. It's pretty fun, dude. I won't lie. Like once you start flipping those thing around, uh, they're good. You only have 15 likes on the tube. Burns, you say that like that's shitty, dude. That's fucking good. Better than none. The mill says they want us to spend more time with family, but it's because something is broke. That sounds about right. The real trick is when you can flip a knife in each hand, like simultaneous. That would be hard. But I can see how these I can see how these dudes get into the bala song stuff. It's fun. AJ doesn't have any days off for the rest of the month. Yeah, that's how I'm looking, AJ. I'm gonna have to work triple time because I have dicked off so much. But kids are only little once, so I needed to get my time in while I could. I'll come back and work at night. Ooh, schoolmaster prepping bacon wrapped jalapenos for tomorrow and day drinking. Jealous. I haven't been asked a certain question that I figured I would have been asked by now, but nobody's asked it. Frank, yeah, I'm way less productive when I stream. I could have probably had all these done a long time ago. But I like talking. I like hearing what you guys are up to and what you have to say and being connected because I feel like I don't like being uh, completely disconnected from all of y'all because that's just not as fun to me. Uh, Part of the fun of what I do is being able to talk fishing. Since I never get to go fishing, this is kind of my outlet to get that kind of part of my brain out. So it's like the next best thing. If you can't if you can't go fishing, the next best thing would be to either watch fishing or go fishing. So I choose to talk fishing and or whatever else. But uh, you know, it's not like I can talk about like JDM balsa baits with any of my other friends because they don't know shit about them. But all y'all know like all kinds of shit about them. Uh, so it's kind of a catch 22. It's like a double-edged sword. Am I less productive by streaming? Certainly. Um, so, but I do. It does kind of let me reset and you know, enjoy myself a little bit, so I'm not completely an asshole. So this is my therapy session. If y'all didn't know, sorry for. I'll send y'all the bill, or y'all send me the bill. You got to think though, like when you're always around people, growing up, like when you're in college, you get out of school, but once you get like married, you're not really around people that much. You know, like it doesn't bother me, but because I've typically been a loner my whole life, but the more I do this, the more I like to like talk to y'all and like talk about fishing and stuff. Yes. Also, by me being less productive, I drag other people's productivity down, which is also a plus. So I like to have people sync with my ship. That's good, Daniel. I'm glad we have a mutual agreement on the outlet. But it's also like if I'm sitting here by myself, I will typically, if I'm not going to stream, I will typically just put on like a YouTube video and I'll watch it in the background. And sometimes it's just boring. It's like sometimes you just want maybe a little human interaction. And even if it's just like YouTube chat, it's still like interactive. It's way more fun to me than like it. This will probably cost me an hour. Um, you know, if I lose an hour for you know the enjoyment I get out of doing this, I'm okay with that. Um, all right, Burns, I'll send you the weirdo for the next bait, or do you want me to pick another one in between? Uh, Waterwood, they make the wood baits down in Amazon. Oh yeah, I don't know what kind of wood they use. Burnsy, do you know? Do you know what kind of wood those waterwood baits are made out of? Julatong or whatever that shit is that the old Sissons were made out of. I used to call it jute long, and then I heard Lee Sisson say it, and it was like I was way off. It's like Julie Tong, Julatong. Burns doesn't know what they are. I don't know what kind of wood those waterwood baits are. Um, Marupia, Marupa Pedra. Hella, how do you know that, dude? Do you own one? Or did you Google it? Those baits, there was some other bait I was looking at, uh, and I was looking at it, and I was thinking, uh, that the bait, and it's a lot of uh, what I typically see, or something that irks me about a bait or a paint job or something. And the waterwood is a great example of this. And you see it, and they're very well put together, and they're very clean, and they're all this shit, but they have no soul. And you can see it in baits people build with their hands, and they paint them by hand. And like the waterwood baits, like I said, they look great, they're put together well, whatever that wood is, marupa, but they're soulless. And like that to me is what like sets apart. And they try to like sell themselves as like a custom kind of thing, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like you can look at them and tell like that bait has no soul. It's just like Lego pieces put together. And I think you see more and more of that with like all these like stencils and shit that are all prefabbed, and like everything's like ready to go, and like a color by numbers, or what is it, paint by color by numbers. Um, so I think you see a lot more of that uh, soulless custom stuff now. Where before, even if you sucked, but you were like trying to do something unique, it still has a soul, right? Like you're putting that into that bait. But like when guys just like buy all these like pre-cut bullshit and they spray bait, like, and they expect you to like be into it, it's like, nah, dude, didn't come from anything. X had no soul. Oh, sounds like a lovely lady. Sounds like a lovely lady, Hayden. Sounds like a lovely, fair maiden. That's true. Do the I guess I should preface that and say I'm not discounting the ability of any of these things to catch fish. I'm looking at a I'm looking at it from a consumer point. Like when I look at that bait, and I'm like, would I give you my money to own that? The answer is no, and the answer is no because that bait is soulless. It has a black heart, and not discounting its ability to catch fish, but uh, the bait makes them bite. I will gladly pay you. There you go. What is the bait that? I guess that would have to be a chatterbait. Like you could probably give a chatterbait to just about anybody and just be like, "Here, this will catch you fish. Just throw it and reel it." That would have to be, and you don't have to you don't have to set the hook. You don't do anything. You just reel. That would have to be the easiest bait to fish and catch fish on. Open hook. What is the highest price point of a bait you've made for a client? For a paint job? I've done quite a few $100 paint jobs. Probably about where I don't know. There's some I should have charged for it. Some I should have charged that for and didn't. But it was a glide style bait. I've foiled really big stuff before, and I charged out the ass for that. But I typically don't post any of that kind of shit because I don't want somebody to ask me to do it again. Like people ask me quite often, will you foil a swim bait? No. And I've never posted a picture of me foiling, like, of a swim bait I've foiled. And there's a reason, because I don't want people to ask me to do it. It's annoying. It's awful. Brendan, no, I did not lose a bet. Just the I guess this will be my annual face cleanup. Everybody says I look younger. AJ. $3M broski. I've used the generics. I don't like them. I feel like they last about the same, but they don't cut the same. Maybe they don't last the same. I don't know. I just don't like them. I just don't like them. So 3M pads for me. I thought I was going to have visitors at the shop today, but it looks like I'm solo. Nobody coming to visit. I guess it's raining. All right, dudes. I've been on here 2 hours and 39 minutes. I'm going to get out of here. Yeah, they are expensive. I do feel like you get a little more use out of a 3M pad compared to the other ones. I don't know what it is. I feel like they're knit a little tighter. I don't know. Hayden Burns does not have a YouTube channel, nor does he have any lures in any shops in Arkansas or anywhere else in the world. I think your only chance at a Burns is through me or Epic Eric or the secondary world, the black market. Yeah, I don't know. Something a little different, but that's 3M, dude. I was talking about 3M last week or 2 weeks ago when I was streaming. Like, literally 3M makes the best everything. Like if you need something, see if 3M makes it because it's going to be the best of whatever it is. And if you don't think it's the best, it's probably because you don't know, like you don't know it yet. You don't know, like you're like, oh, I like this better, and it's because you haven't used the other products enough to realize why the 3M is better. Um, but I feel like 3M really is hella face reveal. What the fuck, dude? Richard, what is wrong with you? Did you lose a bet? What does 3M stand for? I don't have a clue. I don't know where they got their name. I know they're real. They know their abrasives and their adhesives, dude. That would be if I were a damn Bass Pro. That's who I'd be looking for sponsorship from. That's who I need. That's like if I were a sponsor chaser. If I'm looking for a YouTube channel sponsor, Instagram sponsor, I'd be chasing down 3M, dude. They're awesome. There you go. John Smith says 3M makes the Spectra fiber in Power Pro braid. No wonder Power Pro is so awesome. 3M's in it. But AJ is also right. They don't need to promote shit because they're already fucking awesome. So, what do you do? What do you do when a company's so good you don't have to market anything or promote? People just find you. That was what that was my business plan to begin with. I know y'all have heard me say that before, but it seems to work for 3M. They make the rod blanks and Fenwick World Cup rods. What can't 3M do? I would love to go to their laboratory to where they develop product. That would be fun. I could probably, you know what I wish 3M would make? Paint. I bet they would make some like crafting paint, solvent based craft paint, small volume, like not selling it by the 5 gallon bucket like house paint, which will never happen, but it would be awesome. Uh, Minnesota Mining and Minerals, and it's based out of St. Paul, Minnesota. The lab is in St. Paul, Minnesota, says Hellabass. John was wrong. It was Honeywell, not 3M. I'm sure Honeywell stole their formula from 3M anyway, so who knows? But yeah, 3M's the shit. I feel like they're just like the industry standard for everything, and then everybody else is just under them trying to like make something 3M-ish. Hell, they probably do make paints for the automotive world, but they're probably on such a grand scale. It's for like OEM manufacturers. Like it never sees the public. But I wish they would make hobby paint. Anyway, all right. You guys be good. And Hella says if you want to see him without a beard, watch his stream tonight. That will be very weird. Very. What time does that go down, Rich? I mean, Hella? 8:39? 8:30. There you go. 8:30 Minnesota time. Y'all be good. Have a happy new year, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see y'all next time. No Beard and no visor. I don't even know. This is going to be weird. All right. Y'all be good. I'll see you tonight.